I've heard many people these last few weeks, folks, call for Kevin SINFIELD to be knighted this year. I believe he's going to possibly get another honour, but they say it's too early for the knighthood because he had an award a year or so back, and you have to wait 3, 4, 5 years for a knighthood, which seems strange to me. Why can they give him an award a year or so back and then give him another one now and then a knighthood? If anybody deserves it, it's that man. But really, this message is about the BBC again. I cannot believe it. At a time when everybody calls the BBC, I've got to say the coverage of what SINFIELD has done for Rob Burrow, Doddy Ware and M&D has been absolutely fantastic. I know they had something on again this morning. It was a good 20-25 minute piece. Some of the film was stuff I'd seen before. A lot of it was new, but from the same 7 in 7 that he's recently done. Just awe-inspiring, absolutely fantastic. How, when he sees all the people he sees and he goes through what he goes through and people say great things to him, how he keeps his composure, I do not know. He's a lot harder than me. I'm like really getting upset by it all, but in a good way. I just think the man is just phenomenal. He's absolutely fantastic. He deserves everything that comes in his way. But one thing I will say, one thing I'd never heard before, and I thought it was brilliant. I loved his honesty, because I just love honesty in anybody, in any walk of life. And he actually said, I think he was on about Scotland, the Scottish leg, it was really bad weather. It was one of the legs, I mean, it wasn't good weather all the way through, but a couple of days were especially bad. And I think it was Scotland, and he said, the weather was really bad. It really threw it at us. He said, but we welcome that. We welcome the bad weather. That really is what we want. And I thought, you wouldn't sort of say that. And I thought, well, is it because colder means it's easier to run in or whatever? And he said, no, we want the bad weather, he said, because when all's said and done, people want to see us struggling against the elements. They want to see the struggle of the runner against that bad weather. He said, and let's face it, MND, it's all about struggle. They're struggling with life now, you know, all those with MND, the struggles they go through are awful, he said, and you just tend to inspire people more the more you struggle. He said, so the bad weather, just bring it on. He said, if it gets more people aware of what we're doing and brings more funds in, I'm happy with it. And I thought, well, I can't believe you've been that honest, saying, you know, you want the bad weather because you want more of people, you want them to give more because they're going to be more inspired by you. But that is the kind of guy he is honest, and I thought it was great. But no, SINFIELD for knighthood for me. He's not going to do it this year from what I can gather, but it should be, and it can't come too soon. I think he's just been an absolute colossus, I really do. I think everything about him, everything about his runs, the challenges he's taken on for his great friend Rob is just fantastic. And one thing I will say to you, Rob, you're never going to see this, but if you did, you don't need to say every time you're interviewed, I hope Kevin knows I would have done it for him. He knows that, my old son. He does. I thought of something about 2 weeks ago. I keep hearing you say that, and I keep thinking, you don't need to say it. He knows you'd have done it for him. There's no doubt about that, which is why he's doing it for you. And I thought, I'll tell you what, he was that close to you, Rob, as players and as people since you've stopped playing. I'll bet you for all he's doing it, and he's doing it out of the goodness of his own heart, and because he wants to support you and to support the fight that you've got in front of you now, or that you've had over the last 2 or 3 years. I thought to myself, he probably wouldn't do that for every player he's played with, every player in that trophy-laden Leeds team. There's probably 3 or 4 players that form a nucleus of his real best mates. You could have been his very best mates, I don't know. I'm not privy to that. But I would imagine there's 2 or 3 or 4 people who would do that for, and then other players on his team would be teammates, but not as close to him and not as special in his heart. And it's obvious that for him to think that way of you, you obviously would think the same of him. So we know if the boot was on the other foot, you'd just be doing the same, Rob. There's no doubt about that. Mind you, they might take you a little bit longer, those marathons. You've got a lot shorter legs than he's got. He's knocking them out in 4 hours, isn't he? Or under 4 hours a marathon. How he's doing it, I don't know. It's just, as I say, it's phenomenal. But well done, Kevin SINFIELD. Really, really, really well done. And knighthood cannot come too soon. I noticed somebody wrote the other day in the paper, this about the sports personality, that you should have got it. Never even thought of that myself. You was obviously never considered for it, but you're still within sport. You know, you're coaching rugby league, rugby union, and whatever else. And for what you've done there, it's all sporting. Yeah, I'd have had you in it. I'd have had you in the 6, and for me, you'd have won it by a country mile. You deserve to have done. You know, you've done a lot more this year than that Manchester United and England goalkeeper, who I think got to a final somewhere, but ultimately got beat. A goalkeeper I've never ever heard of, but then again, as I say, I don't watch women's football, but I don't think there's anybody that could have begrudged you the title of the Sports Personality of the Year, because in my eyes that's what you've been for all you wasn't in the main six. But yeah, that was a good shout. I read that in a paper the other day and I thought, yeah, probably he should have been nominated, and he definitely should have won it. Absolutely no doubt about that.